Hey Asia, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. And so we are going to start by talking about this first paragraph mostly, and I'll kind of reference some other parts of the project as we go along. So the first thing that I always look for in a body paragraph is a strong topic sentence that really answers the question that was provided to us. And so I noticed a lot of times, like, you sort of have an introductory sentence, but like in this one, you just say, like, human language is complex. Without knowing the context for that, I'm a little confused how that relates to the question, right? So maybe if you told me, like, the left brain takes the literal meaning, the right brain takes the emotional tone, which means that it can help, decode, for example, language. That might have given a little bit more context, but try to really refer back to that question, okay? I also noticed down here, a lot of times in your paragraphs, you didn't have a concluding sentence, and we do want to have that, Asia, just to kind of wrap up the paragraph. Again, tie back to that question, and just really make sure the reader knows, like, okay, this is, the end. The next thing that I looked for was evidence. I think you did a pretty good job selecting evidence, but I want to talk about your embedding, which is kind of how you integrate it into your writing. So like up here on this first quote, you say, the right brain qualities of inventiveness, empathy, joyfulness, and meaning help the left brain by not only taking in blah, 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 blah. So obviously the citation's in the wrong spot. It should be at the end. But really, that's a pretty good embedded quote. Like, that flows together nicely. You start it with the quote, and it flows right into your own writing, which is what we want. The problem, Asia, is that when I came down here, and I read this sentence, it's like, it's very simple but so extraordinary. The left hemisphere handles what is said. So do you see how that one, really these should be two separate sentences? So this quote, unlike this first one, doesn't really flow together very well. So we just want to kind of watch that, and we'll be working on that soon. Next, I looked at commentary. I really liked this first piece of commentary that you had. Because you sort of expanded on the quote and on your example. So you sort of talk about, like, they feel emotion, but the left brain, takes in the literal. So I thought that was a good way to connect back to the question and how they work together to make sense of situations. However, I noticed in a lot of your paragraphs, you ended the paragraph with a quote, or you didn't finish with the second piece of commentary. So I did have to count you down a little bit for that, okay? Next, I looked at conventions. I just want to point out, try not to use personal pronouns like you, just a little bit too informal. And then our citations are going to go at the end of the sentence, no comma, no P with a dot, and the period goes at the end. Okay, so I know that's kind of detail work, but just be careful on that. Your art-directed activities looked good, and the one I was trying to find was about your letter to yourself, and I just wanted to commend you for that. I thought that was really cool that you kind of took some time to reflect on that. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback.